Now, in a major security scare, powerful explosions rocked Jammu's Air Force Station. Two back-to-back low-intensity explosions within a gap of 5 minutes rocked the high-security technical area. Two Air Force personnel received minor injuries. The first blast took place at 1:37 a.m., second blast at 1:42 a.m. One blast caused a minor damage to the roof of a building, while another bomb exploded on ground. Two suspects have been detained now and being questioned by the forces. NIA 2 began the investigation there, and the case is now being treated as a terror investigation. Cops tell India Today that drone operated from nearby area was used in the attack. Jammu Police has now registered an FIR under sections of the UAPA and Explosives Act, NSG, also now in quite a spot there. We're looking at the blast now that is being investigated as a terror attack. Right now, one blast that caused minor damage to the roof of the building is now being probed into, where two suspects were also allegedly, in fact, they were injured at that point. Two suspects have now been detained and are currently being questioned.
NSG team has just arrived here at Jammu's Air Force Station, and the NSG team is right now entering inside the Air Force Station. The probe is being widened now. All angles are being probed, and NSG has also been roped in. A short while ago, we saw that that NIA team had reached here at the Air Force Station, and now NSG team has arrived at the Air Force Station. You can see that the vehicle is entering inside the Air Force Station. So all angles are being probed as far as this case is concerned. With video journalist Iraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Jammu for India Today.
जम्मू के हालात को जिस तरीके से खराब करने की ऐसा लगता है कि एक साजिश की जा रही है, जिसकी हम कड़ी मजम्मत करते हैं। न केवल एक आतंकवादी को पकड़ा गया है, एक्सप्लोसिव उससे बरामद हुए हैं। ये आतंकवादी जम्मू में कैसे पहुंच रहे हैं, ये एक बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह है सरकार के ऊपर, प्रशासन के ऊपर, और अभी टेक्निकल एयरपोर्ट के ऊपर भी जिस तरीके से हमला हुआ है, ये बहुत ही निंदनीय है।
Definitely there's a need to be alert, and Raksha Mantri ji has already inquired on the incident from the Vice Chief of Air Staff, and forensic team and the bomb disposal teams have already reached the site. In fact, it is also reported that probably 2 drones were used. Definitely, I think we need to be alert on this aspect of the drone, and the security and protection of the sensitive areas installation is very important.
Let me quickly cut across to Ashraf Wani joining us more from Srinagar. Ashraf, this high security zone, there's been a serious security breach with the blast that's taken place. 2 blasts back to back, injuring 2 people as well. What is the motive behind this attack? Those who have been detained, any word on if they are indeed behind this terror attack?
Nabila, absolutely, it is the serious threat for the country particularly, and in the in the Jammu and Kashmir. Basically, this is the first time when the drones had been used by the anti-national militants or terrorist groups for targeting the security force here in the Kashmir Valley. Now, after this incident and the twin blasts in the Jammu Technical Airport, all the airports across the Jammu and Kashmir have been put on highest ever alert. Already the security is very high in the air bases and airports in the Kashmir Valley. Particularly, there are main 3 airports, that is Srinagar Civil Airport, then Technical Airport used by the Indian Air Force, and the Avantipora Air Base, that is the air base used by the Indian Air Force. Already there is a very high grid of security from the last many years when many attempts were made to target those air bases by the militants. Now, after the West Indies incidents, now the drone has become the new tool for targeting the security establishments here in the Kashmir Valley. That is why the Inspector General of Jammu and Kashmir Police, Vijay Kumar, took a brief security review with the forces who are guarding these air bases and airports here in the Kashmir Valley. That includes the Jammu and Kashmir Police, then the BSF, CRPF, and SSB. And after becoming the Union Territory, SSB is overall in charge of the civil airport here in the Kashmir Valley, in particular in the Srinagar. But this threat is being taken seriously by the security agencies, and if any such more attempt is being made across the Jammu and Kashmir, particularly here in the Kashmir Valley, the focus is how it could be countered by the security agencies.
Right, Ashraf, do stay with us. We do know this is a low intensity blast, but nonetheless, it's a high security zone. So what What was the intention behind this blast is currently being probed into. After two blasts exploded inside the high-security Jammu Air Force Station, Jammu DGP Dilbagh Singh has now confirmed to India today that a drone was used to attack the airbase. In fact, the valley was already alerted for a possible drone strike on 24th of June itself. There was an alert that was sounded, following which IG Kashmir chaired an urgent meeting with NSG, IAF, CRPF. In fact, Jammu DGP tells India today that a part of blown-up drone has also been recovered, and it is being suspected that the drone was used as an IED. He further added that the drone was operated by people near the attack site itself, and clearly Air Force people along with equipment were the target. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spoke to Vice Air Chief and Air Marshal H.S. Arora about this explosion. In fact, a high-level special investigation team of the IAF has now reached the Jammu Air Base. They're currently there investigating the entire area. In the view of the situation, Ambala, Patankot and Awantipura Air Force stations, Srinagar and Srinagar Technical Airport has now been placed on high alert. Ashraf, for more details on that. Ashraf, if you can take us through, we're looking at teams now, high-level special investigative teams who are currently at the spot trying to conduct an investigation, a recce of that area. They found parts of that drone, and they believe that the target could be the Air Force personnel itself. And two of them have injured as well. How are they doing? And what is the real motive behind this attack as per the DIG?
Absolutely, Nabila. Basically, this is, as you in the initial of the report said, that this is first time when the drones are being used to target the security agencies here in the Kashmir Valley. That is what the DGP Jammu and Kashmir Dilbagh Singh said, that probably it is being believed that the target was the Air Force personnel in this attack where the ID was carried out by the drone. And as it is of the first nature, and there are many less low vision, we can say, or we can say these kinds of attacks on radar, and it is easy for the militants or the terrorist organizations to carry these attacks. If they have used it in the Jammu, they can use it in anywhere in the Kashmir Valley also, or in the other parts of the country. That is why this meeting was taken up by the Inspector General of Jammu and Kashmir Police here in the Kashmir Valley. Basically, the Kashmir Valley is considered as more sensitive and more easy for the terror targets as compared to the Jammu. That is why this meeting was undertaken. I will tell you something interesting, that basically there is already some important security aspects which are not in other parts of the country or in other airports, what are being followed here in the Kashmir Valley. That is the grid of security on and around the air bases or the Air Force areas. But now, after this attack in the Jammu, this security grid has been enhanced, and further what I said, that the tactic is being adopted, that how such kind of attack or the attack of this nature could be prevented or could be foiled.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ashraf, for joining us with those details. This indeed is the first of its kind attack in India. It is suspected that two low-intensity IEDs were dropped from a drone at the Indian Air Force Base in Jammu. Pakistan has now been using drones for supply of arms and ammunition to terror networks in Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. Both India and Pakistan have now been using drones for surveillance. In fact, drone IED has been used by ISIS for many years now in the Middle East, but this is the first probable drone attack on a defense establishment in India. Now, quadcopter drones has 4 high-torque motors powering each of the 4 propellers, which helps it fly. A computer positioning system there helps these drones maneuver, and the cameras track the drone by reflecting light off its markers. A drone can flawlessly perform acrobatic movements, launch through tight spaces without error, which makes it all the more lethal. Battery-operated drones that have cameras and can be flown for a couple of miles at a time cost just a few. In fact, it will eventually be a cheap affair, as it costs just a few thousand rupees. Now, let me cut across to Pooja Shali, bringing us more on the several other IED, or why this attack by the IED drones is now a concern, as it is indeed the first of its kind in India.
So why is it that the IED drones are raising an alarm with regard to the Jammu attack? First, these drones avoid traditional security measures and therefore can often go undetected. The operator remains behind cover. It is an unmanned vehicle and the operator is elsewhere, even kilometers away. The attacks are carried out from a position of clearly safety and remote controlled. However, otherwise looking small, these drones can drop explosives, ammunitions, weapons, and with exact great accuracy within the kilometer range. They are, of course, relatively quiet and very hard to spot. The operator is able to film this whole attack also via its cameras, tracking, and later can be used for propagandas. The drones, of course, are relatively inexpensive, cheap, and can be reused if, of course, not caught by the Border Security Force.
Here's some big development in the Kolkata fake vaccination drive case. An IAS officer has been arrested here who ran this fake vaccine racket. In fact, this man, he made quite some sensational revelations during the grilling. The accused, Debanjan Dev, revealed that he used to write letters to the government agencies and put receipt stamps on these letters to convince victims about the vaccine, to make it look legit. Dev claimed that he wrote a mail to Serum Institute officials seeking Covishield doses. Probe is currently underway. Remember, TMC MP and actor Mimi Chakrabarti was jabbed at that vaccination drive as well. There were over 200 odd people who actually got the vaccine jab that eventually turned out to be fake. IAS officer, supposed IAS officer, has now been arrested with this regard. Prema Rajaram for more details on that. Prema, do tell us who this man is, a supposed IAS officer who seems to have very tactfully managed to get stamps and seals from the government itself only to convince people that these vaccine jabs were legit.
Debanjan Dev went around saying he's an IAS officer and in fact even had vaccination camps for the COVID-19 vaccine against the COVID-19. And he had held one of these camps in Koshba where Mimi Chakrabarti was there. She had taken the jab and after which the racket was busted, and he only claims to have held these vaccination camps in 2 places, not any more than that. However, police are still looking at all possible angles. The detective department office has formed a special investigating team and they are looking at this probe. They have already found 8 bank accounts so far, but more people, about 10 people, have been summoned for questioning. There have been 3 arrests that have already been made. So they're looking at all possible aspects of this case. He did write letters, like you mentioned, to government agencies and would in fact write the reply also, so that when he would go to victims, he would show these replies to people and convince them. So various aspects coming out in this case, but police looking at all possible aspects to see what aid were this amikacin which was used as the Covishield, because he used the fake label of Covishield as well. So that is one part. The second part is where did he get the funds? Thirdly, the bank accounts, and one of the bank accounts they've managed to find through which he's to pay his staff. So Debanjan Dev, many more aspects emerging in this case, and it doesn't just stop here. Also the fact that the BJP hitting out at the Trinamool Congress, saying that he was seen with many influential MPs and MLAs. Back to you, Nabila.
Yes, with those details, this man has been arrested now. Investigation to further who are his accomplices, if at all, underway. Now, moving on to the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust and the allegations of a land scam. The Ram Janmabhoomi Trust has now decided to take legal action against those levelling allegations of fraud in the controversial land agreement in Ayodhya. The trust has now called allegations as misleading and politically motivated. According to sources, the trust is now taking legal help to draft charges against the opposition leaders. Vishwa Hindu Parishad has now suggested that the trust take strict legal action against AAP MP Sanjay Singh and Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi. The trustees are now mulling over filing several charges, including defamation, disturbing public tranquility there, and presenting false documents in public. Opposition parties there in Uttar Pradesh, including SP, AAP, Congress, had now alleged that piece of land which was bought for 2 crore rupees from its owners was sold to Ram Janmabhoomi Trust for a whopping 18.5 crore rupees for Ram Mandir construction. Now, the Delhi Disaster Management Authority on Sunday relaxed further restrictions in the national capital under the Unlock 5 guidelines. Outdoor yoga activities, gyms will now be allowed to function with 50% capacity from Monday. Marriage halls, banquet halls and even hotels will now be allowed to hold wedding ceremonies with a maximum of 50 people. While for marriages taking place at homes or courts, only 20 people will be allowed to gather. Last week, Delhi opened up shutters on bars and lounges at 50% capacity from noon to 10 p.m. While all markets and malls were already operational, restaurants are also now open with 50% seating capacity from 10 a.m., 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. The gradual unlock opened public parks, gardens and golf clubs as well. Delhi saw a steady dip in active COVID cases, resulting in the curbs being eased.
First of all, I want to tell you, हमारा सारा staff, including trainers, sales staff, housekeeping, full vaccinated है. And precautions के लिए हम 50% capacity पे run करेंगे अपने gyms. We have an app of Anytime Fitness workout app in which we are having a slot-based system. Our customers will be booking their slots online through our app. जैसे ही वो लोग जैसे slots full हो जाते हैं तो वो app पे show हो जाएगा कि आप ये वाला slot full हो गया है. So they have to book the next slot. Each slot के बीच में हम लोग सैनिटाइजेशन करेंगे जैसे slot end होता है.
Now, taking you through what's allowed and what's not, gyms and yoga centers with 50% seating capacity will be allowed now from tomorrow. In fact, wedding halls, banquet halls there will allow guests up to 50 in numbers. Now, guests at home and court will be limited to only 20. Bars and lounges, particularly, will be open from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. with 50% capacity again. Markets and malls will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restaurants will be open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. with 50% seating capacity. Then you have public transport like metro and buses, again with 50% seating capacity. Autos and taxis, strictly only 2 passengers allowed inside. Private offices will have only 50% capacity allowed to work. Parks, gardens also opened up with 50% capacity.